The Chicago Bears will never win big with Matt Eberflus. Let me know if you agree or disagree. I'm Harrison Graham. This is Chicago Bears Now, the morning after another heartbreaking loss in the Matt Eberflus era. And on today's show, I'm really just going to provide evidence to why Matt Eberflus is not good enough. And I want to say this off the top. Do I think he's improved as a head coach? I actually think he has. Do I think he's a great defensive mind? I do. But there is too many examples and too much evidence that show that he is not a good enough head coach. And that is the title that he holds. So let's dive into it here. And we'll start with this. The situational coaching, and we've seen it time and time again under this head coach in big spots, is just mind-blowingly bad. It really, really is. I mean, we've seen it. We saw it yesterday on multiple occasions. He said it after the game, that Doug Kramer play is a part of that goal line package, and he signed off on it. He can veto that call. He can tell Shane Waldron, hey, we'll use this in a spot in the future, but in this spot, we're going to hand the ball to Roschon Johnson. He has the authority to do that. He didn't do it. We saw at the end of the game, the play before the Hail Mary, he gives up a 15-yard out route. We'll get to his comments after. Just didn't even defend it. Free 15 yards. Didn't have to be that way. We've seen him and this team, to their credit, defend the sidelines where you don't give up a completion there when a team doesn't have a timeout. They did it against Houston, which forced a long field goal attempt at the end of the first half. I think they did it in this game in the first half. I'd have to go back and look. It's not like you haven't done that before, and you just gave up 15. And we saw it. How about the Browns game last year, right? Late in the game, 3rd and 15 against Joe Flacco, who can't move. He drops Justin Jones into coverage against David Njoku on a stunt, which gets picked up. That's the risk you take when you make that call in that spot. And, of course, Jones can't hang with Njoku, and they give up like 30 yards on 3rd and 15. I'm not saying throughout the course of a 60-minute game he doesn't do things well as a coach. I'm saying in big spots, time and time again, he comes up short. He comes up empty. It's just not good enough. And again, I don't want to shit on the guy. I don't like being the guy that says, hey, we got to fire this coach. But the evidence is the evidence. And when has he come up big in a big spot? I can't think of it. To the Bears' credit, they rallied after that Kramer fumble and drove down the field and scored again. But do we really give him credit for that? Because Shane Waldron had a couple of bizarre calls in that situation too. He calls 2 quarterback draws in a row and then got bailed out on a PI on 4th down. Great route by Keenan. Defensive back had to cover up. Again, I get Waldron's the play caller. But Matt, hey, Shane, I don't know about a second quarterback draw here. Like, I get you got to give your OC some authority, but like, that's just bad. It's just not a good call in that spot. So, again, the situational play calling has been atrocious. The situational just coaching decisions or lack thereof. How about not calling the timeout before the Hail Mary or the second to last play? You have 3 timeouts. I said this during the postgame yesterday. Kevin Stefanski, the Browns head coach, used all 3 of his timeouts on the Ravens' final drive to keep his defense with fresh legs, to make sure they were lined up in the right spot, to just calm everything down and get it all together. Everyone wants to blame Tyreek Stevenson. And yeah, was that an awful look? Absolutely. Is it immature as hell? No doubt about it. But isn't that a little bit of a reflection of the coach? Olin Kreutz went on radio this morning and said, we've seen Tyreek Stevenson have some antics for a while now, and they haven't nipped it in the bud. And I get it. You got to thread that needle. You want this guy to play with an edge, but he's got to be in the game mentally in that spot to not be jawing with the fan. That's just another reason why you take the timeout. Calm everyone down. Get the personnel on the field you want. You know who wasn't in the game on that last play? Montez Sweat. You know who I would have liked to put in the game on the goal line for a jump ball? Rome Odunze, Cole Kmet, 2 tall guys who can jump. He just doesn't get it. When the spots are the biggest, when the brights are the lightest, he crumbles. He doesn't know how to finish. And it's such a shame because Caleb in the offense, which struggled all day long, found a way to drive down twice, gave you the lead the second time after your OC screwed you the first time, and it's all for naught because you couldn't finish at the end of the game with a couple of just non-decisions from Flus. We're not going to use a timeout. We're just going to play this out. Just really bad. Really, really bad. Number 2, he can't win on the road. This was a big spot for Flus. 3-16 on the road coming in. He's now 3-17. If you're going to be a real team, and I don't mean like one of these float around 500 teams maybe sneaking to the playoffs, at some point you have to win games on the road. Think about the 3 road losses just this year. At Houston week 2, no problem. That's a tough spot. Rookie quarterback getting blitzed all night, second career start, no problem with that loss. Then you lose the Colts the next week where you ask Caleb to throw 52 times. Anthony Richardson can't even complete passes, and you can't win that game. And then yesterday, again, you're not ready to play to start the game. Like, let's be real. Washington dominated this game for 3 quarters. Your red zone defense, which Flus gets some credit for, but again, he's not the defensive coordinator. He's the head coach. It all matters. He gets some credit, though, because he does call the defense. Your red zone defense is remarkable, and that kept you in the game. It really did. You should have lost that game big. But again, you hang in the game, which to your credit, but you can't finish. Like, it seemed like for 2-3 quarters, the offense, like there's confusion all over the place. Like, why is the team not ready to play off a bye week? Like, get your team ready to go. They looked lost the first 30, 45 minutes of this game. And that is a reflection of the head coach and the coaching staff. Period, end of story. And you have to win on the road in this league to be a major contender. And not only do they not win on the road that often, they don't win at all. They're 3-17 on the road. I mean, that's as bad as it gets. Yikes. Not good at all. We'll keep it rolling here, but first, got to get a word in from our sponsor. That is Game Time. If you want to go check out a Bears game, Blackhawks, Bulls, or any other sporting event, concert, or comedy show, get your tickets with Game Time. Last-minute tickets for the lowest prices guaranteed. Their newest feature called Game Time Picks makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play much easier. It'll filter out the fluff of thousands of tickets and kind of just pick points in the stadium with different price ranges. And you're like, okay, my budget, say it's $300. Okay, I can get second level and kind of surf in this range. Get your tickets and you are good to go. There's nothing like going to a sporting event. Today is actually the sports equinox. You got all 4 professional sports playing on the same day, which is awesome. Game Time has views from the seats, super deals, which are the best bang for your buck. And again, those last-minute tickets for the lowest prices guaranteed. So what are you waiting for? Get off the couch. Go to an event and have some fun. Download Game Time right now. Search Game Time in your app store. There's also a link in the comments and description. Use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase only. Terms apply. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. All right, number 3, and I kind of alluded to this in the last one. This team starts these games just horrendously. And yes, Waldron deserves blame there too. But I don't absolve a third-year head coach who is a defensive specialist of offensive failures. Again, I don't know how many times I got to explain this. He's the head coach. It all falls on him first and foremost. Look at the Bears' opening drives this season. Week 1, punt. Week 2, field goal, which was from 50+. Barely got in range. Week 3, missed a field goal from 56, which was short, which again, that's coaching mismanagement. You don't understand your kicker's range. Week 4, punt. Week 5, punt. Week 6, punt. Week 7, punt. And yesterday, it's 4th and 20. They lost 10 yards. 81 total yards on 7 opening drives this year. And it goes beyond the opening drive. It's the first quarter. 10 points in 7 first quarters this year. 10! I think 7 of those were against Carolina, who is a joke of a team. A joke. Marcus Mariota put 40 up on Carolina. Like, come on, man. You can't start these games. Like, again, you were lucky to be in that game yesterday. You've got to start faster. You start this slow against Detroit. I know this defense is pretty damn good. They're eventually going to score on you. Like, you can't come out of the gates week after week after week. And there's a lot of blame to go there. Caleb's got to start better. Waldron's got to call better plays. I'm not saying it's just on Flus, but when it happens every week, that's on the coaching. Like, that's on the coaching. And coming off a bye, especially, like, one thing I was thinking about, I was like, okay, maybe they can get off to a better start. Actually got off to a worse start. It's like, okay, all right, not ready to play. Credit for hanging in there, but you got to start these games better. Hit that subscribe button. We're going to be here all day, every day here on Chicago Bears Now. Authentic Bears takes, reacting to the latest news, rumors, trade deadline, 8 days away. See if there's any action there when it comes to the Bears. We'll be live this afternoon as well, 4 o'clock Central Time. Be sure to join us for that. Appreciate all our new subscribers as well. Turn on notifications if you haven't already. All right. I would make a strong argument that Matt Eberflus has one notable win in 2.5 years. One. Last year at home against Detroit. That is the only one that stands out to me. And you might say, but they beat the Niners in his first career game. Yeah, that was in a monsoon against Trey Lance. I mean, that doesn't matter. That's just a fluky, weird game. Here are the list of quarterbacks Matt Eberflus has beaten. He's won 14 games. He's 14-27. Trey Lance, Davis Mills, Bailey Zappi. Those are the 3 quarterbacks he beat in 2022. Last year, Sam Howell, Brian Hoyer, Bryce Young, Josh Dobbs, Jared Goff and the Lions, won that game. Kyler Murray, good quarterback, but the Cardinals were bad last year, let's be honest, and he was coming off injury. Taylor Heineke, those were his wins last year. This year, Will Levis, who, if it was Mason Rudolph, they would have lost. They should not have beaten Tennessee. Matt Stafford, that's a good QB win, but their whole team was hurt, and you won that game by 6 points. Andy Dalton, Trevor Lawrence, who's been in a funk all year. Those are your wins. To me, that win against Lions and Goff last year is the only notable one. And he choked the other one in Detroit against Goff and the Lions. Like a colossal meltdown. Up 12 with 4.5 to go. Defense collapses. 2 touchdowns in the last 4 minutes. Like, we got to be objective about this stuff. In big games and 50-50 games against decent teams, like, I get it. This defense is really good. They've given up 21 points or less in 13 straight games now. But they don't get over the top against quality opponents, like basically ever. I mean, Goff and the Lions, one awesome win in 3 years, 2.5 years. Again, this video isn't he's a fucking joke and sucks. It's he's not good enough. Like, he's actually made progress. I will give him credit for that. Does anyone think he could be a high level guy? What evidence do we have? I'm presenting evidence, tons of it, that he can't. It's not year 1. It's not year 2. It's year 3 now. They've mastered beating the teams they should beat. They never win 50-50 games, and they never beat teams that they're underdogs in. Okay, last one here. No accountability whatsoever, and this is one that really irks me. As a leader, even if deep down you're like, the player fucked up, or one of my other coaches fucked up, you got to take it on the chin as the head coach. You know who took accountability in the presser? Go listen to Flus's press conference and then go listen to Caleb's. Caleb gets it. He understands what it means to be the face of a franchise. Doesn't mean he'll never say the wrong thing. Like, Justin Fields is really good at this too, and every once in a while he would say the wrong thing out of frustration. But the head coach in particular has just got to take more ownership. Jacob Infante kind of recapped it well here. He said after the game yesterday, giving up the 13-yard completion, free yardage to set up the Hail Mary didn't matter because end of the day you're defending the Hail Mary. Well, that is incorrect. If you don't give that up, they're probably just going to have to throw a short pass and pitch it around because they would have had to snap the ball at the 35 with 2 seconds left if he just threw that ball away. He's going to drop back and at best throw the ball from the 30. Is he going to reach the end zone in that spot? I don't think so because on the Hail Mary that did happen, it was 2 or 3 yards short and caromed into the end zone. If you're 13 yards back, I'll take my chances that's not reaching the end zone. And guess what? If it does, hey, hat tip. Kudos to you. But don't make it easier on the guy. Number 2, he said the Doug Kramer call, yeah, I signed off on it. It's one of the plays in that package. Like, dude, just say, yeah, that was a stupid fucking call. I would respect you if you said that. And then he said the Hail Mary wasn't poorly coached. We've practiced it 100 times. Someone didn't execute. And while that's probably true, again, Matt, timeout. Teaching points. Hey, we've practiced this, guys. You do this. You're the guy who defends the potential tip in the back of the end zone because that's what he pointed to, like someone wasn't in the right spot, which is obviously true. But it's like, hey, I got to do a better job there. I got to make sure that doesn't happen. That's what a head coach does. And he just will not take accountability. And it fucking drives me insane. Just say it. I made a mistake. I didn't get the guys ready. I had 3 timeouts and I could have taken one there. I could have gotten different personnel in. I could have blitzed, brought 5 or 6, and made Jayden get rid of the ball quicker. And I saw someone, I can't remember who it was, tweeted out, what scheme is there to defend a Hail Mary? It's like, what do you mean? There's a lot of things you can do. You can bring in taller personnel. You can blitz. You can. There's not one way to defend a Hail Mary. Like, I know it's kind of a weird luck-involved play. That doesn't mean you have no control over the situation of what happens. And Flus is just like, yeah, the 13 yards before don't matter, and someone didn't execute. Yeah, you didn't execute. Like, that's a big part of it. You didn't put your players in position to succeed, and that is what the coach is in charge of at the end of the day. Will the Bears ever win big with Matt Eberflus? Type Y for your said for now. I don't mean like sneaking into the playoffs and, maybe even making the divisional round. Like, could you ever envision this guy being on the sideline as a head coach in an NFC championship game? A Super Bowl? And I'm not saying that should be the goal this year. But like, do you really think that could happen long term? Like, be honest with yourself. Because I just do not. Like, yesterday was a great example. I think the Bears have a better roster than the Commanders. One team came out ready to play. Other team did not. Guess which team was ready to play? Washington. I thought Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury kind of schooled you in that game. I really did. Ask yourself right now, would you rather have Quinn and Kingsbury or Eberflus and Waldron? I think that's a pretty easy answer. And then it gets even worse in the NFC North. Dan Campbell, Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, as well as the DC. Like, I like Flus as a DC better than Aaron Glenn, but again, he's the head coach. Campbell and Ben Johnson, not even close. O'Connell and Flores, I know they've been a little under fire the last couple of weeks. I will take that pairing all day, every day, and twice on Sundays over Flus and Waldron. LaFleur and Hafley, I don't even care who the DC is. I will take LaFleur. And by the way, Hafley's actually doing a decent job. He's been much better than Joe Brady. Again, if Flus might be the best defensive coordinator on this list, you'd maybe take Brian Flores over him. But yeah, as a DC, he's top tier. He's top notch. He will get a defensive coordinator job like that if he's fired. That's not the job he holds. He's the head coach. And you have to make tough decisions in timely spots in big games. Because in the NFL, when good teams play each other, it's going to come down to a handful of plays. And more often than not, he does not deliver on those plays. He's not good enough. And I think I just presented plenty of evidence as to why, assuming this continues this way, and I do want to say this too, you're going to play this year out. Unless, look, you lose to the Patriots a couple weeks, maybe you'd fire him. But like, they're going to give him this year, see if he can win some of these divisional games, win some of these big spots. But once again, in a big spot, he failed, and he failed dramatically. All right, there you have it. Chicago Bears now. We're coming at you all day, every day. Hit that subscribe button. We'll be back this afternoon with more thoughts on this game, plus how can this team respond. 4 o'clock Central Time. We'll see you then.